I'm Sid Shetty, Vice President at ServiceChannel, and we are here today at Sam's Club headquarters in Bentonville, Arkansas. And I have with me RJ Zane. RJ, thank you for having us and for having this conversation.
Sid, welcome. I appreciate you having me here as well, and look forward to the discussion today.
So RJ, can you give our audience some background about Sam's Club, your role, and the scope of your facilities program?
Yeah, Sid. So Sam's Club is a warehouse retail model started back in the 1980s by Sam Walton. We currently have 597 operating clubs in the lower 48, as well as in Puerto Rico. Our facilities maintenance program is made up of 50 associates here in Bentonville, Arkansas, where we're focusing on that mix of reactive, proactive, and predictive maintenance to create an overall reliability-centered maintenance program.
So RJ, as you know, the facilities industry has a massive PR problem. Not all organizations truly understand the importance of the facilities team. Most oftentimes, senior leaders need help to understand the impact the facilities team has on the overall brand, customer experience, and therefore, ultimately, sales. How do you articulate the value you and your team bring to the organization and get the buy-in you need to really run an effective facilities program?
Sid, that's a great question. And to your point, facilities has a bad PR problem. The only time that we get attention is when something is broken, right? But the fact of the matter is, the conditions of our facilities are the first thing that our members or our customers see. As soon as members come to the building, as soon as they arrive in our parking lot, that's the first thing that they see, right? They see the condition of our parking lot. They see the condition of the front facade of the building and the exterior paint.
That's right.
Same thing happens when the member enters our club, right? The first thing they see is the shiny floors, the lighting levels, the equipment availability. The image that we portray from a facilities maintenance perspective has a direct impact on member loyalty. So Sid, it's important to ensure that you combine the numbers or the data from a maintenance perspective with the emotional aspect of how people are affected by the conditions of your fleet, whether it be the conditions of the parking lot, the conditions of the facade of the building, or the conditions within the building from an equipment availability perspective.
Yep.
So Sid, an example of how our organization goes about it is our pavement condition index program or our parking lot program. We have an engineer that goes out across all 597 clubs and takes specific measurements on our pavement to create a pavement condition index score for each individual club, so we can then rank stack all of those clubs. When we say, hey, a club is below a specific threshold from a data perspective, that's when we say, hey, we need to invest. We take that business case to our leaders and say, hey, this is the score and the condition of that asset. This is the amount of the investment needed, and this is the return on investment by offsetting capital into the future, or offsetting risk to the business from a safety component perspective. We showcase the emotional aspect of the pictures to showcase the condition of that asset, so the leaders within the organization understand what we're dealing with and how it impacts our associates, our members, and the general public from a safety and aesthetics perspective.
That's amazing.
Sid, our facilities conditions and the downtime of our equipment have a direct impact on our customers and harm our customers' likelihood to come back to our facilities, right? Downtime is also very expensive. When you have downtime, you have to pay expedited parts shipping. You have to pay overtime. It's way more cost efficient to put together a proactive maintenance program to ensure that we have optimal uptime and we're paying only regular rates and regular part shipping when we have a downtime event, in the likelihood that we do have a downtime event. Having an effective asset management strategy will eliminate all of the prior mentioned.
So RJ, before we dig into your asset management strategy, can you share with us how having a great customer experience is so integral to Sam's Club? And how does your vision for your facilities program weave into it?
Well, great question, Sid. If you think about it, Sam's Club is a warehouse model, and we have memberships. So
Right.
our customers are paying members to shop at our Sam's Club. And we expect the best of conditions for our customers. We also expect to have our assets available to them at all times. So we can ensure that our product is available to them at all times. So Sid, we've got a program called Get to Bright. Part of Get to Bright is quantifying the conditions of the asset fleet, right? What that does is allow us to ensure that we understand where the deficiencies lie, so we understand where we need to invest, so we can bring the fleet up to the ideal standard for our customers and our members across the fleet. In quantifying the conditions of our asset fleet, Sid, we quantify things like lighting levels. We quantify things like floor gloss levels. We quantify the conditions of our assets specifically, so we ensure that we know exactly what we have in our buildings and what our customers are experiencing. Another piece to this, Sid, is equipment uptime, or oftentimes, as I portray it to our operators, equipment availability,
Sure.
right? It's essential that we have our equipment operating at 100% uptime or availability. We have dedicated resources focused on our asset strategy as we ramp it up.
We're excited to have our audience hear how you and your team are making huge strides in asset management and how you're leveraging technology and innovation to achieve your goals. Can you share a little bit more about the strategy and your approach?
Yes. Sid, no, a great question. I think that ultimately we're striving to be a zero downtime facility, right? Which is meaning 100% equipment availability for our members. We track trend and predict the needs of every one of our assets, so we ensure that we know what things look like. We also do this in a cost-effective way by ensuring that we have that right mix of reactive, proactive, predictive, and overall reliability-centered maintenance. Sid, we're taking 7 specific steps to get to our optimized state. Step number 1 is auditing our facility so we understand the conditions of every one of our assets. Step number 2 is tagging our assets so we understand the age, the spend, and the downtime of every asset within our facilities. Step 3 is to embed condition-based monitoring systems so we can ensure that we are monitoring leading indicators versus lagging indicators. The first 3 steps, Sid, were setting up the infrastructure to build the program. These next 4 steps are to work to optimize our program. Step 4 is optimizing our provider base. We have to have the right mix of internal and external resources to ensure that we have the right folks on the floor understanding the conditions of our asset fleet and helping us to move through means of continuous improvement. Step 5 is optimizing the mix of reactive versus preventative versus predictive maintenance. Industry standard is a 60-40 model. 60% reactive, 40% proactive.
Right.
We're moving to a 75-25 model where we're 75% proactive, 25% reactive. Step 6 is driving the action, right? As we start to see trends within our data, it's important to take action. Root cause analysis is something that we dig into often. We have to get in to understand the background, the current state, what our ideal state should be, root cause it, and begin to create systematic action item steps to ensure that we solve the problem, and then we monitor the backside to ensure that we have achieved our results through the data. And the last step is an optimized spare parts program. To ensure that you are mitigating downtime, you have to have spare parts readily available in real time. And so we work from there to optimize our spare parts program to ensure that we do have those spare parts available when we need them.
In your business, ensuring minimal downtime of refrigerated assets is critical, especially in a top-notch facility like Sam's Club. Can you share a bit more about how your asset management strategy has had an impact on refrigeration?
Yeah, for sure, Sid, and that's a great question, as refrigeration is our critical one asset. The first and foremost, we went through and tagged every one of our refrigerated HVAC and refrigeration assets. So we are 100% tagged.
That's phenomenal.
So the benefits out of that are huge, right? I can see the age of the asset. I can see the spend against the asset and the specific downtime. Prior to asset tagging, I could not see any of this. All I can see is that I have spend against HVAC and refrigeration, but I could not tell what our problem children were. I could not tell which assets we're spending the most money on and why. And I could not see which models are failing more often than others. The asset tagging is an integral part of the performance of our refrigeration system. Said further to asset tagging, we are further expanding our condition-based monitoring systems. Prior, we were monitoring lagging indicators through our building automation system. We're monitoring temperature on refrigerated units. Once temperature rises, it's too late.
That's right.
You're losing product, you're losing sales. We need to monitor leading indicators. So we're beginning to install sensors on our wiring, on our motors, to ensure that we are capturing amp draw, to ensure that we're capturing vibration, to ensure that we're capturing temperature of motors versus temperature of the equipment, so we can get ahead of the downtime. As we start to set thresholds in each of those areas, as soon as we start to see things rise outside of those thresholds, we react and proactively replace equipment to ensure that we optimize our uptime.
That's amazing. So RJ, as expected, we would love to know what role ServiceChannel plays within your facilities program. How do we help or enable you and your team to execute on your strategies?
Great question, Sid. ServiceChannel is an integral component of our platform. ServiceChannel is the database for which we store all of our data. ServiceChannel sets the platform, we deliver the inputs, and then we get the outputs back from ServiceChannel. This allows for our ability to trend the information, right? So we can start to see the age, the spend, the downtime, and trend that across each of those assets. ServiceChannel sets that platform. So this information helps our organization with repair or replace decisions. So we can ensure that we're optimizing our total cost of ownership for our asset fleet. We want our assets to be at optimal state, where we're reducing the total cost of ownership over time instead of increasing.
That's right.
So another key component of ServiceChannel is their Scout program. ServiceChannel has a broad platform of providers, and we're able to leverage the data against all of those providers from a cost, speed, and quality perspective to make provider optimizing decisions. Sid, one of the examples of how we've benefited from the Scout program, we've made decisions on plumbers to optimize our plumber provider base. And we've seen a 41% decrease in cost, in plumbing costs, and we've seen a 38% increase in first-time completion. Sid, Sam's Club really values the partnership that we have with ServiceChannel. ServiceChannel is continuing to be innovative, offering more and more solutions. ServiceChannel has been there to help us achieve our goals and objectives, which is an awesome feat as we work to optimize our state.
So RJ, clearly you're on your way to reaching this aspirational goal of being a zero downtime facility. How would you summarize the impact it's had on your overall brand?
So Sid, we're getting things done faster. We're improving quality. We're getting things done at a reduced cost. We're continuing to see increases in our uptime. We're continuing to see aesthetic improvements in our conditions of our fleet, which is helping us bridge the gap with operator relationship, with member relationship, as we're getting feedback from our members. It is overall improving our brand as we continue to serve our members and our associates.
That's amazing. So RJ, it's always a pleasure working with you, and clearly your vision and execution is a great example for facility teams out there. What key advice would you give to leaders of facility programs around the country and world as they look to get started or gain momentum in their asset management journey, and maybe even looking to reshape their facilities program?
Sid, I think the advice that I would give everybody out there is to remember to be patient. It's not a sprint, it's a journey. To create a reliability-centered maintenance program, it does not happen overnight. Set specific key goals and accomplish goals one at a time. And remember, data is your friend. It's vital to ensure that you collect the data needed to showcase the return on investment. Otherwise, organizations will not be investing in facilities maintenance unless you showcase where those returns come from.
That's right. Again, thank you so much, RJ, for being here and for having this conversation with us and for sharing your story. I'm sure our audience really appreciates it too. And thank you to our audience for being here and for watching. Take care.